Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you to We Are All Over the Map. I'm Lisa Petrillo with CBS4 in Miami, and I want to welcome you on behalf of the Miami Book Fair and Books and Books. And boy, do I have some amazing people, and you see them in the screen right now. It's all about what makes a marriage last, a wonderful book by Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas. And we are, of course, joined by Miami's own superstars, and that is Gloria Estefan and, of course, Emilio Estefan. Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
We're going to start with our authors here tonight and talk about, we talked about it earlier, but the little bit of the genesis of why you both, Marlo and Phil, decided to write this book.
Well, we want to do something special for our 40th wedding anniversary, which will be May 21st. But last year, and we were celebrating our 39th, we said, let's do something positive. There's so much negativity in the world. Let's find out, what makes a marriage last. People have been asking us for years about our marriage.
And remember that half of us get divorced. Those are the stats.
That's right. And so those of us who've made it to have a long marriage, what is the secret sauce for that? And we've been asked that for years, and we never wanted to answer it because we're not experts, we're not psychologists. What right do we have to say? And so we thought, well, if we ask a lot of people who've been married a while, we'll get a whole bowl of nuggets from all of these people, and maybe we'll come up with some real wisdom. And we really did. We came up with so many good things, and that we're using now in our marriage, which are working for us.
Yeah, we thought we'd be together with these couples maybe 20 minutes. Well, my dear, I mean, they were serving us cheese and crackers and olives and
wine and
donuts and celery.
And it was fun because it was a double date. We didn't go out as reporters, Lisa, like you. We went out as a married couple to meet with another married couple and talk about marriage. And when you go out on a double date with another couple, you don't spend the whole night talking about marriage. In fact, it may never come up. But this was just the one topic. And everybody, at first, we thought they were a little maybe suspicious.
Yeah, well, they were looking at us like, wait a minute.
Well, yeah,
boy, they got into it. Once we started, we talked about our own situations and drama. And once that happened, it just started to roll. I mean, we were, in a way, we looked back on it and we were a little embarrassed. I mean, we spent over an hour with these people.
Well, 2 hours and 2.5 hours. And it was fun. Gloria and Emilio were in New York to do a show. I think it was for the Statue of Liberty or something. They were singing and doing a great show. And we caught them here. Oh, yeah. And they came over to our house and we gave them the cheese and crackers and the hummus and everything.
Exactly. And they were good.
And so Gloria and Emilio, and you chose them because obviously what a working relationship, a loving relationship. I know that was one of the reasons why you chose them. And I guess I want to ask you, Gloria and Emilio, what makes the marriage work after all these 40-something years of being together? And I know you guys personally, so I think I know a few answers, but I want to hear you both say it.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. You, Gloria, what makes the marriage tick for you? And a lot of it has to do with that guy just makes everyone laugh, I think.
When we were on our way to our honeymoon in Japan, because he wanted to take me there, I would look at him and I'd go, but you're my husband. Because I was thinking, it was never in my plans to get married. And he was my boss for a year, and then we kind of dated for 2 years. And I had no doubt that I wanted to be with him the rest of my life. And we're very different personality-wise, but in the things that really matter, like your priorities, your values, we're on the same page. Music, business, we're on the same page. So we don't have a lot of, we don't have to argue because we really are most of the time on the same page, but we're just very different in the way we go about doing things. So and he makes me laugh a lot. He's very absent-minded. I love that.
Is that funny. True, Emilio? Is that true?
Yes, it is. But something, I think like Laura said, I think number one, I think it's a love. Love has to be the main thing in life. But I think one of the things that to me is a lot of communication, respect always has to be first. But to me, it's thinking about making the other person happy. As long as you make the other person happy, you're always going to be happy. Of course, I mean, sometimes you don't agree in things, but when you talk about it, you're always going to be, because we're different.
Yeah.
Right? On this, and the same, we always, like Gloria said, with same principle. We was kids, as an immigrant, we came with a lot of dreams, and we was fighting for a new sound, the way of business. And something, we fought to we keep our last name. We fought to defend a sound, and we always right on target and everything else. But something, we love each other. The main thing is that you want to wake up in the morning and have your wife next to you, and maybe one day die next to your wife, holding her hand. And they say dream that something that is a beautiful thing.
A true test, as I know, was about 30 years ago, and I remember that going to New York when you were first coming out, Gloria, the bus accident in Pennsylvania, where we did not know if you were ever going to walk again, and that was a coming of age of everything in your life, with your mother falling in love with your husband, right, and everything. And tell us a little bit about how that kind of bonded you forever.
Well, I tell everybody that I don't want surprises, good or bad, because the surprises have been Lulu's. I remember being very grateful for everyone's prayers and feeling them around me like a physical energy, and I tapped into that. Emilio went gray at a 2-month span. The prognosis was tough.
Yeah.
But I had a great doctor that told me that it was up to me. And I say, okay, if it's up to me. And Emilio supported me every step of the way. I mean, I could only sleep for like 45 minutes at a time, and he would get up and hold me so he could walk me around so I'd feel better, because I wasn't taking anything. I wanted to really know what my body was going through. So he was my rock through all of that. And when my mom saw that, I mean, she saw what he was about.
And fell in love. And
she gave him a rough time.
That is true love.
That is true love.
Really.
And Phil, tell us a second about having Marlo, because not everybody knows about that story, as your guest, and that chemistry was flying way back in the day. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, she was, I noticed her right away when I walked into the green room. I mean, there she was. Those very dark eyes and fabulous smile. And I was smitten right away. And I mean, she was, if you're Catholic, you understand this, she was an impure thought. And I was...
I still am.
Yes, she is. And of course, the show went pretty well. I mean, you seem to be.
Well, we flirted terribly. I mean, I saw that white hair and those killer blue eyes, and it was like those shampoo commercials where everything kind of slows down and goes in slow motion.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, we had a chemical reaction to each other. And but we waited 3 years before we got married. I wasn't ever sure I ever wanted to be married, but he convinced me that it would be a good thing, and he was right. We belong together, and like as Gloria said, with her and Emilio, we have very different personalities. He's very cool. He's very laid back. I'm very impulsive. I want to fix something right now. The minute it happens, I run to the phone.
Yeah.
He's that says, let's wait, let's just think it through. And that's good. Somebody once said that a good marriage is one in which both people don't go crazy at the same time. We don't go crazy at the same time. We go crazy one at a time. And that's a very good way to go through life. But one of the things that I think, for me, is the most important, obviously love, but the trust that I can trust him with my head, that he won't ever tell me anything that isn't really right for me. If I ask him advice, the advice he's going to give me, and he's proven it so many times, is going to be the advice that's good for me, not just convenient for him.
And jealousy can be a killer.
Yeah.
Jealousy, I mean, I didn't realize it until I finally was able to lose it. It's draining. I mean, it takes a lot of energy right out of your body.
He was jealous, and it made me feel bad. Like I thought, well, what am I doing that's making him be jealous? I'm not doing anything. And then a friend of mine said, it's not about you, it's about him. That's his thing. you know, and then you got past it. I was jealous once when Sophia Loren called him for lunch. I said, what? No. Lunch with Sophia Loren. That's not a question.
That's not happening.
No, that's not happening. Not at all.
Let's
talk other than that, I haven't.
Let's talk about all of the other couples that you just throw some names at us, and who to you maybe was the biggest surprise when you put pen to paper and interviewed them and about some of their answers and why and how they stayed together?
Well, I think what surprised me was all the challenges. When we decided on all these couples, we didn't know every problem that they had been through. I mean, we didn't know that Kyra Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon had lost all their savings, 30 years of savings, to Bernie Madoff. And they overcame that without blaming each other. So one of the things that I think is really important that we notice is these people didn't blame each other for what went wrong. They didn't say, well, if you hadn't done that, they didn't do that. Another thing that Michael J. Fox and his wife, in 3 years, they're only married 3 years when Michael got the diagnosis about the Parkinson's disease, which has affected their whole lives. And they went through that together and continue to go through that. And Jesse Jackson betrayed his wife, betrayed their marriage, and had a child outside of the marriage.
She calls him Reverend.
Yeah, she calls him Reverend.
And when somebody asks her how many children she has, she said, well, she says this a lot. She says to them, well, I have 5. The Reverend has 6.
But she took him back. And I said to her, well, did you throw him out? She said, no, he's not going anywhere. He's mine. So that was her decision. So, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis had a cocaine habit. There's alcoholism, all the things that could go wrong with people. And it happens within their marriage. They came through it with a desire to make the marriage stick. And one of the people that I thought was really interesting, Peter Herman, who's married to Mariska Hargitay, he said, you know, some people get married thinking that the other person should make them happy. He said, but another person isn't going to make you happy. Happiness is going to come from what you build together. What you build together will bring you happiness. But if you look for the other person to make you happy, you know, in a few years, if you're not happy, you'll think, well, that person didn't make me happy. I'll get somebody else to make me happy. And they go on and on and on like this, and they'll never be happy because that's not where the happiness is. And the other thing we noticed is that all those couples with all those challenges, including what Emilio and Gloria went through, nobody was looking for the exit. They weren't looking for an escape route.
They wanted the marriage.
They wanted the marriage to last.
They wanted to keep it. And you could see that. I mean, it's especially if only one person wants to keep it, that's a pretty good sign that this will be a marriage that lasts.
And a lot of them went to marriage counseling. Ron Howard and his wife Cheryl, and Bryan Cranston and his wife Robin Dearden, and they said something interesting that Bryan Cranston said. He said, if you get a warning light in your car, you don't pull over and lift up the hood and try to fix it. You take it to an expert. So if you get a warning light in your marriage, go to an expert and not as a referee, but as an interpreter.
I think that was probably the most genuine act of love
to do that. Yeah,
where the couples who sought help for their relationship.
Yeah.
That is a great sign.
And I also love that Kyra Sedgwick said, you go into marriage, you can't have a plan B. This is it. This is your marriage. There's not someplace else to run away to. And I think if you go into that, the love that you started with will just keep getting more nourished and become stronger and stronger. I must tell you, I am more excited about marriage, including our own, since doing this book and meeting all these people. I got a great whiff of positivity about what is possible in life and in marriage when you put your heads and your hearts to it.
And these weren't newlyweds. These were people who had already
had the test of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Gloria, who I've known for 30 years. And Gloria, I remember, you know, you have this there's new fame. There's the rush of that, right? The influx of money. I'm sure there's a lot of temptations on both sides. How did you guys handle that at that time when that whole music world is just exploding around you and staying together as one? I'm sure there was challenges in that as well.
You know what? When I was listening to them speak, I think that the key is that there are different moments in life where one or the other has to be the strong one and carry you through, and you take turns, you know, handling things depending on what happens. So when Emilio and I, when everything took off, we were traveling nonstop. And the only reason that I was able to do it was because our son and my mother-in-law came with us to allow me to do it, because I went out on one tour and I had set aside the date of my son's Holy Communion. And 2 weeks before, the school decided to change it. And I tried to change my concert, and then it was sold out, and they were going to sue you, and it was impossible. And I said to Emilio, I go, either we all go or none of us go, because I'm not going to miss his life. Mm-hmm. So you have to make hard decisions. And it really helped me that my mother-in-law came right along with us, because it was his grandmother. So it was home and we were all together. And, you know, I think it helped a lot, because the battles that Emilio and I have faced have been both of us facing it together, you know. And during my challenge, he was super strong. And whenever he's had challenges, I'm the one that's super strong, and you just handle it. And fame, we never focused on it because we were doing what we loved and we were with our family. So our focus was always that, you know, the family and the career. And we kept doing what we loved, which is a blessing, you know. It's a blessing to do.
Emilio, was there ever a time when either one of you said, okay, if Gloria said, I've had enough for a while, and you had to push her, or you argued over that? Or was there a time when one was off balance with the other professionally and you had to nudge it? Was it always simpatico? How did that work?
No, I think we were balanced. I mean, even, you know, I was thinking, you know, looking at you, we're friends for so many years. I mean, you know, we develop a relationship with people for 30 years, 35 years. We have the same musicians. We have the same staff in our house for 35 years, 30 years. I think we're very balanced. I mean, right now we live in a moment that, you know, that we're going through such a tough time in the world. And, you know, sometimes I wake up in the morning and say, baby, don't worry about it. We have to think positive and think that we're going to come out of this in a better way. We live in an incredible country. We live in a place that, you know, we're free. We'll be able to, we are blessed in living in the United States. A lot of people going through a lot of rough time. I think to me, life, I was so rough, you know, being a kid, leaving Cuba and going to Spain and became to America and everything, that, you know, one day I said, I want to be positive. And, you know, I use that possibility, that thing for Gloria's and my relationship, that, you know, something I want to enjoy with her every single moment of my life. Because, you know, something, you never know the moment is going to come back. And that's what I love to kiss people. I love to hug people, which I'm missing that now because you cannot kiss anybody. But, you know, I always try to be sure that I go in
there will be no more kissing and hugging. I'm announcing it now.
But, you know, something, I think, like I said, you have sometimes different opinions, but we always have to, you know, decide something that, you know, like Gloria said, we have the same principles. And I think that helps a lot. Let's put it that way. Our family always been something that, you know, that I miss when I left, you know, I left my mom and my dad and the whole thing. And, you know, something to me, our family, like Gloria said, was extremely important for us. And I think, you know, being the family, including in the moment we live now, family is important to be around you and friends to support you. And sometimes you get a call and say, how you doing? Everything's okay. And, you know, something, I think me and Gloria, we got a lot of things that are very similar things. I think Gloria is more analytical and more like a dreamer. And like Gloria said, upside mind. I remember one time I went to a concert. I wanted to be so nice to Gloria. I said, Gloria, let me go and pick up the car. It's raining. And I went home and left her in the concert. Because my mind works like, you know, ADD. I'm like you, Marlo. My mind, it works like, you know, to have to be everything fast. I have to do everything that, you know, sometimes, you know, in the long run, it's like, I think life, you have to live it to the max. I think you want to share the life with the person you love and the people around you. And I think it's a blessing to have a beautiful marriage.
Phil, did your marriage change when you stopped? Did your marriage change when you stopped the day-to-day grind of the Phil Donahue and Donahue show? Were there challenges during that time where you felt you weren't as busy? Because I know men always like to be busy. Tell us about that.
Well, one of my many sins is jealousy. I mean, I really did have problems with.
No, she's saying when you quit.
Yeah, it was, my jealousy subsided.
Because he was around me more.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, I could watch her. I mean, it's, when I think of that, I think about the energy that I wasted and how, jealousy is a killer sport. It will reduce you to nothing, really.
Everybody keeps saying to us, well, what's it like? How are you getting along in being quarantined? We've been self-quarantined for almost 8 weeks by ourselves, without a housekeeper, doing everything by ourselves. I've loved it. We've never had 3 meals a day together, except when we go to Barbados or the south of France when we go on a vacation. Yeah. Usually, whoever gets up first has their breakfast. I'm always running off to a meeting for lunch, and we have dinner together. But for almost 8 weeks, we've made our meals together. I've made all my mom's Italian recipes. He's been chopping onions and squishing garlic, and it's been fun. I mean, it's been like a little bit of a vacation for us to do that. I mean, we're working very hard on our book. We did 25 radio interviews this morning. So we're working hard all the time to, do these virtual book tours, but we're together, and I'm really enjoying that. And we've talked about that we feel a little guilty saying it because some people are saying what a bad time they're having. I have to admit that we have a big enough apartment so that Phil has his own workspace and I have my own workspace. So we can go hours, with doing what we want to do without interrupting the other. The one thing that we fight about, and we fight about this all the time, but we fight about it really a lot now, is he could watch the news all day, and I have to drag him from the news to do something else, to play a game or to watch a movie.
Yeah. Marlo's into movies, and it's not a big thing, but she makes popcorn for them watching the movie. So
yeah, that makes it.
How do you turn that down?
It makes it more fun. I like to make things fun.
Yeah, and Gloria Emilio, how are you spending quarantine? Right now, it doesn't seem that you're in the same place. Am I right? You guys are in different spots right now.
Yes. Gloria's in Vero Beach in our beach house. I have to come because, we got a couple of meetings. But most of the time I'm in the studio now. I come and I just finished the album for the Wailers. I'm doing the Josh Groban. I'm doing the boys from Gypsy King. I'm doing a lot of things. Ali Brooks, a lot of people. So, I spend more time.
You work too much.
Yeah.
You work too much. But how are you quarantining together? Are you guys playing games? Are you eating together? Is it kind of a bonding time for you, or do you make yourself crazy too on top of each other?
He doesn't. He does not like games. He doesn't like games.
My husband doesn't either.
Fortunately.
Well,
I happen to love games. I love Rummy Cube. I play with my sister and my assistant. So I have game players. He's not one of them. He goes to the studio, which was his second quarantine, because the people that were there were also kind of quarantined because they've always been together, and it's a very small, there's only 3 of them in there, the engineer and the studio manager and one other guy. So he's continued to work, and so he's between work and that, but we're together. We were together alone the whole time, except when he's at work during the day.
The good thing about it in the studio,
I didn't leave that.
You can do a lot of recording satellite. You get a lot of people and you see them recording, and even symphonies. I'm recording a couple of the big symphonies all over the place, and you see all them playing. A lot of people, background vocals, you do everything satellite now. So that helps a lot. But at least, something. Yeah, we're doing a lot of other things, so, to be able to help other people, and we're trying to do as much as we can, like everybody else, trying to help, to go, finish this bad dream that we're doing, that everybody's having, and it keeps us busy, definitely busy.
I mean, the other thing with this whole pandemic is, I'll sometimes get impatient, or you're just getting stressed out and worry, if I went to the store, if I touched something, and then you're having a little argument, and you're thinking, what am I arguing about? The last thing I would be so heartbroken if somebody I love, my husband, were to get sick. So it kind of does bring you a dose of reality of all the other, hate to say the CRAP word, doesn't matter, right? That little stuff doesn't matter.
I gave Phil a haircut. I'd never done that in 40 years of marriage. First of all, you can't make a mistake with his hair. He's got the most perfect hair. But I took my manicure scissors and cut around his ears.
You look good. You look good.
But you can't kill his hair. It's the best hair.
When I caddied as a young man, the caddy master said to me, I wouldn't go in there without a gun. So I started thinking, well, I got something about my hair. So anyway, I tell people that they'll spot me if there's an accident at sea. They'll spot me first from the air.
But anyway, we're excited about this book. It's a wonderful experience to meet other couples that we've known from afar, and to get to know them and realize how real they are. You know, somebody who interviewed us said, well, you interviewed all these celebrities. They have money and they have fame and that makes it easier. And I said, you know, people aren't celebrities when they're home alone with each other.
Right.
They're people with problems. They're people with personality problems. They're people who get sick. They're people who have kids who drive them crazy and mother-in-laws who drive them crazy. And they have all kinds of worries. So, being a celebrity does not save you.
It doesn't inoculate.
It does from anything. I mean, there's a lot of celebrities who have the COVID-19. You're not inoculated. What inoculates you from bad things is you're depending on each other and knowing, I know he's got my back and he knows I've got his back. That's knowing that you've got a best friend who will fight for you, who's your cheerleader and who will be there for you. That's everything. I mean, that's what you know, it's in the Bill of Rights, the pursuit of happiness. And we have a right to pursue it, you know, and you can't be happy if the person you're with is somebody that you trust and you know respects you for what your dreams are. We make each other's dreams come true the way Gloria and Emilio have. They've made each other's dreams come true, and they've made a big dream together. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to them, because they put their dreams together and made one big dream. That's so exciting.
And always held that respect, which is number one, right? For all of us.
Absolutely. Right.
I'm going to open it up now because it looks like we're all four of us are just having this amazing chat, which we are, but we have viewers that are out there. So I'm going to click the ask a question button and I am going to see what people are saying. Okay, so here is somebody saying, hi, Lisa. I am wondering if either couple ever sought therapy to work through any rough patches in their marriages. And this is by Mark.
Well, we did not go through therapy. I was in therapy before I met Phil, but we never had therapy together, no.
Okay, what about Gloria?
But a lot of the people in our book did.
I think it's the number one act of love, really, for couples who feel
that they need it. They need an interpreter.
Yeah, if you're feeling the earth shake, first of all, it's a lot more complicated to break up than it is to stay together.
Right, exactly.
Who said that again?
Elsa Walsh. Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. So all of these, I mean, we learned a lot just listening to these people.
And a lot of couples in our book did go to therapy, and it really did help them. And another thing that helped a lot of couples was their faith. I mean, President Carter and his wife read the Bible every night together. And when they're away from each other, they read the same passage, so that even if they're away, they're connected by the fact that they're reading the same passage. And I know that Gloria and Emilio have a very strong faith too.
I also have another question, and Gloria and Emilio, we're going to ask this to you. Then it says, this is from Holly Cohen, and she says, what does each couple still want to do? Well, we'll go to all of you then. What does each couple still want to do or experience or achieve that they haven't done together as of yet? Do you have something that you guys still want to do?
Waiting.
Gloria?
Oh my gosh.
That's a hard one.
We've done everything we ever wanted to do.
That's a great answer.
I mean, honestly, we have. It's just we've worked a lot. I know that we both love to travel for fun some more, like we did this last summer with the kids. And thank God we did, because Lord only knows when traveling will once again feel safe to us. So, we both
year
enjoy
for our
that
anniversary.
much. He loves
Every year
cruises.
for our anniversary, our gift to each other has been, for all these 40 years, has been to travel somewhere. We went to Indonesia, we went to China, we went to Japan. We've gone all over the world for our anniversary. But sometimes we couldn't go very far because we were working, so we'd only have a weekend. So we'd go to upstate New York or upstate Connecticut or Bermuda for the weekend. But we've always taken that time just to be together. That's the best gift you can give each other, is your time away from other people. And of this year, we won't be able to do that. We're going to be home. So we'll miss that one way of a ritual of ours. Anniversary is exploring another country, which has been wonderful to do.
Yeah, so where it's funny that I get that question a lot, and something I always said, I'd be very ambitious to ask for anything else more in life. I have a beautiful family, beautiful kids, healthy kids. What else are you going to ask? I mean, we have work, we live in a free country. What else do you want? Something, just give back to people. I think, love, and be sure that, we recognize all the people that, success, and, be proud of people. And I think I think sometimes that when you realize what we're going through now, that, money is not important. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're famous, not famous, something. You have to enjoy life, like I said before, and we want to be sure, something to share moments with people you love. I cannot ask for anything else. I can tell you the truth.
That's a beautiful answer, Emilio, and I would expect that from you. I just do. And I'm gonna have one more question before we wrap up, and that is, okay, let me scroll down. Technology 101 here. Okay, forgive it. It says, "Hi, Lisa. Children can often complicate a marriage. How do you work through that, particularly during the challenging times the children nowadays may face?" So let's talk about kids, and Gloria, we'll start with you, Gloria. You've got, kids different ages. Now you're a grandma, facing challenges with kids.
Babe, you want to take it?
Well, I think I'm going to tell you something. Kids is something that you try to teach them for the world when they're kids. They need to live their own life. And the only thing you can give them is love. And the same thing that I got with my marriage, communication, and respect them. Something, they're all going to have their own life, and they're going to have to make decisions. You can always advise them, but they're going to make a lot of mistakes. And they have to make the mistakes. But they always have to feel that you have unconditional love to them. And that's an important thing.
What about you guys, Phil?
Yes. And I can tell you, my grandson is like the love of my life. He's he's going to be 8 soon, Sasha. And we have a really cool relationship. And that's a beautiful thing, that our kids gave us. So they kid around and say, well, we could have just had the grandkids, but no, it's kidding. No, we're lucky. We have 2 great kids. They're great people. They're great people. And they're humble kids. And, they see the world, and they're very kind, which means a lot to me. So we're very fortunate to
your daughter.
I planned my son to like 3 days, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of September, and we were both Virgos. He's really chill. He's cool. And my daughter too. She's a fire sign, a Sag, and dreams, and she's a lot like Dad. They're like a mix of the 2 of us, the kids.
I was saying that we saw Gloria and Emilio's daughter, the percussionist singer. Wow. Talented woman. She is so gifted.
Emily is a powerhouse.
Yes, she's the best.
She's so dynamic. What a dynamic performer
an uber talent.
She is. And what about you guys, Phil and Marlo, about with kids?
Stepmother. Well, I married Phil. I don't have biological children of my own. I married Phil when I was 42 years old. He had custody of his 4 boys. His daughter lived with her mother in New Mexico. And I walked into a house of 4 boys and a grown man. And it was difficult at first, but they were very dear to me. And I think they really wanted a female presence in the house. They hadn't had one for a while. And I remember Phil said to me, would you make a Christmas from me and my boys? They had not had a Christmas at home since the divorce. And so, of course, I'm a Christmas kind of person. So I went to Marshall Fields in Chicago and bought a zillion ornaments and put together this tree. And he said to me, don't expect them to help you. I said, okay. But I made popcorn and got cranberries, and they all helped. They threaded the popcorn and the cranberries. We made garland. They were fantastic. They were so excited to be doing it. And he was really surprised that he saw something about his boys that he hadn't seen before.
Right. And I was, I'm afraid, I'm not altogether proud of my single parent behavior. I remember passing Michael once. He was on the phone talking to his buddy, and he was saying, I'm going to have to call you back. My dad is having a spaz. That's spaz with 2 Z's.
Yeah. Well, he was a man who had a job every day with these 4 boys. But what so touched me about him is we would be in bed at night, and he knew the footfall of each of his sons. When he'd hear somebody come up the stairs, our bedroom was right by the stairs, and I'd hear him say, Kevin, is that you? Yeah, Dad. A little while later, Michael, is that you? Yeah, Dad. He knew the footfall of each of his boys, and I just had such respect for the way he loved those boys and mothered and fathered them at the same time. I was very impressed with that.
I did a memoir of my life, unimportant as it was, a long time ago. This was probably 1979, I think the book was published. And I began the first chapter by saying, if I could start over as a parent, and I wish I could, when my children pleased me, I would tell them. We came up in a world where don't spoil those children, and the result was we never, I don't know, this was my situation, and I said I'm not proud of it, but I wasn't positive enough with my kids. And that's one reason I would like to start over. But somehow, they're
great. And I think one of the reasons was he was scared. He was trying to herd these 4 boys.
Sure.
They were all a year apart. He had 2 boys that were 10 months apart. So he was really, he said to me one time, I just want them to stay alive until they're 21. If I could just keep them alive, standing up. And he was scared about that, It's a big responsibility.
It is.
I think he was very happy when I got there. I remember his son Michael said to me one day, we really like it when you're here because Dad has less spazzes. So Dad was happy when I was there.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Before we go, I just want to do, if you can, I know it's kind of sounds sort of corny, but one sentence before we say goodbye. If you were to give newlyweds advice, you guys can do it together or single. Just if you were to give them one sentence of advice of getting through a marriage and having a wonderful marriage, what sentence would you tell them?
I would say, listen, buy the book. The book has a lot of information. I'm doing the commercial because something. The book, if you're gonna get married or you're married already, you're gonna learn a lot of things about this book, including me. I learned a lot of things. But something. Yeah. Everybody that has been successful for so many years, it's because they have integrity and they are good people. And something, to rough times and bad times, we have to have each other back, protect each other. So definitely buy the book. The book is going to be a big seller, so get ready.
And Gloria, how about you?
Gloria,
how about you? What do you say, Gloria?
One sentence about the book.
No, not about the book. About if you were to tell a newlywed what you would want to give them advice, what would you say to them as you begin their life together?
I'm going to confess to you now that this entire interview has been, you all sound chopped up. So I've been looking at your every word and gesture to try to read. So I want to make sure I answer the right question. What is the question again?
The question is, if you were to give a newlywed advice in one sentence, something about marriage, what would you give them? Whoops.
She's
What?
gone.
I was to give advice to
A newlywed.
a newlywed.
Uh-huh. I don't see her picture.
Advice to a newlywed. For a minute, I thought it was to Emilio, and that was going to be it. I've already given him all the advice, even when he doesn't want to hear it. Okay. To a newlywed, I always say, for the girl, I say, keep shaving your legs. And to the boy, I say, keep paying attention to her. Because you're a couple. So even when you get kids and complications and other things, you need to remember that you're each other's, love and girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. So that's all I tell them, because life comes along and you get, you handle your rut and your behavior, but you have to remember that he's still my boyfriend. I remember it.
Yep.
He reminds me all the time. My boyfriend. He leaves me notes. Anytime he goes somewhere, he leaves me a little note, either next to my toothbrush or somewhere that I am going to see it for sure. And he does it to me. He's done it to his daughter too.
All right, I better go.
It's those romantic little things that
I better go shave my legs.
Save those.
I'm going to shave my legs right now. But we want to tell everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And we want to thank Books and Books and, of course, the Miami Book Fair. And remember, you can go online at Books and Books and order What Makes a Marriage Last, of course, by Marlo Thomas and Phil Donahue. We're thrilled to talk to you all. Oops, I think they're actually might have went away. Whoops. Maybe they're back. I don't know.
Challenges of our new world.
Exactly. But we unfortunately, I think we might have lost them.
They are fantastic people. Fantastic. And thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Books and Books. We love Books and Books here in Miami.
We really do. By the way, I loved your chapter and so many of the other couples. It really is a wonderful read. So stay well, stay happy, stay safe, most important.
We love you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us.
And congratulations on your son. He's quite the musician.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to see you guys.